Would you like to be a disciple maker? But how do you do that if you don't know how? Well, Jesus modeled the process by starting with a simple question. Jesus said, "Come and see." Good morning and welcome to 755 Live. For about 5 minutes, you'll hear all about easy to remember soundbite versions of what Jesus said. And the point is to help you experience life to the fullest, the Jesus way. Today's Jesus Said from our Bible plan at bible.today.church comes from John 1:39, but we're going to read some other verses in John 1, starting with verse 37. John the Baptist, for a little context here, had just called Jesus the Lamb of God, and that's where we pick this up in John 1:37. When John's two disciples heard this, they followed Jesus. Jesus looked around and saw them following. "What do you want?" he asked them. And they replied, "Rabbi," which means teacher, "where are you staying?" "Come and see," he said. It was about 4:00 in the afternoon when they went with him to the place where he was staying, and they remained with him the rest of the day. Jesus said, "Come and see." This is Disciple Making 101. Now, in John 1, the phrase "come and see" occurs twice. What we just read, when the two curious disciples of John the Baptist asked Jesus where he was staying, the Lord said, "Come and see," as we read in verse 39. And then after spending the day with him, Andrew, who was one of those two, found his brother, Simon Peter, and brought him to Jesus in verses 40 and 41. And then later, Philip told Nathanael that he had found the Messiah, and to Nathanael's skeptical reply, Philip said, "Come and see." So let's look at that in John 1:40 through 42. Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, was one of those men who heard what John said and then followed Jesus. Andrew went to find his brother Simon and told him, "We have found the Messiah," which means Christ. Then Andrew brought Simon to meet Jesus. Looking intently at Simon, Jesus said, "Your name is Simon, son of John, but you will be called Cephas," which means Peter. Now, unpacking this a little bit, we don't hear a lot about Andrew. He had been John the Baptist's disciple. Yet, with this simple question, where Jesus said, "Come and see," he simply followed Jesus, leaving the past behind. And he hung out with Jesus for only, half of a day or so, and then immediately became a disciple maker. Now, just imagine this, without Andrew responding to that simple "come and see" from Jesus, and then inviting his brother that same day, we would have never known about Simon Peter. But we don't hear a lot about Andrew, but he became a disciple maker simply after "come and see." Now, one of the principles here is that you don't have to beg to make disciples. Now, we want to reach those that are far from God, and we want to have a guest mentality where we're always welcoming to guests. The difference is, you plan for guests. Visitors just show up, but when you have a guest, you plan for them. And why do we do this? Well, Jesus told us to love God, love people. At Today Church, one of our favorite phrases is "everything is an outreach, everyone has a place." And how do you do this? How do you reach those that are far from God? Well, we have to sow gospel seeds, but that begins with just a simple encounter. You see, it's not our job to force people to understand. But like Jesus did, we need to see what the Father is doing and who he is drawing, because it's not our job to draw people to Jesus. In fact, Jesus said in John 6:44 and 45, "No one can come to me unless the Father who sent me draws him, and I will raise him up at the last day. It is written in the prophets, and they will all be taught by God. Everyone who hears and learns from the Father comes to me." It doesn't say everyone who hears and learns from you or hears and learns from me comes to Jesus. It's what the Father is doing. And it's not our job to convince someone. The Father is already drawing them. And sometimes a simple question, a simple invitation, like come and see, is all we need to do to find who God is drawing. And we never know who that new Andrew or that next Andrew who will say come and see and reach someone like Simon Peter. We never know who that will be. But we have to be willing to ask the question, just like Jesus said. Jesus said, come and see. How can you put that into action today? Thank you so much for listening. If this is meaningful to you, it really does mean a lot to me when you like it and you share it and you comment. I really appreciate you. I hope that you have an amazing day. And I hope this time together has helped you live life to the fullest, the Jesus way. And remember, follow Jesus today. Love first.